Alright. Alright, we got invaded by the one and only Emoto. Now, no hate towards Emoto. I think she's a lovely, wonderful creator. However, something she's said in the past was kind of questionable, had me scratching the bald spots in my head. So, today we're watching is if Straw Hats were charged for their crimes. So, off rip, what I'm going to say is that Luffy's going to be charged for eating all the food in the pantry. Usopp for being useless, Zoro for getting lost all the time, Nami for seducing men out of money. It'd be like extortion. And Sanji for, I don't know. I don't know for the rest, to be honest. But with that being said, let's check it out. I misclicked. Okay.
Zoro was captured and punished for his crimes. If he gets captured, the world government would have their hands on a fighter that's way stronger than all of their soldiers. The thing is, there's no way that the world government...
Bro, he could even be Smoker. What are you okay, off rip. He could not beat all the Marines. Yo, I don't know what... Okay, maybe... Because then you have the Admirals. He's not being no Admiral, I'm sorry. It ain't happening. Well, he could probably be Aokiji. That's like it. Maybe Aokiji, the tree dude. Everybody else is not happening.
Would get Zoro to work for them, meaning if he gets captured, they'll probably execute him immediately. And looking at Zoro's criminal past, it's not hard to see why. These are just some of the crimes he committed.
Wait, no, yo, Emoto, I can't read that. I could barely even read in the first place. You're just way too fast, okay?
Animal slaughter, escaping.
Wait. Oh, shit.
Probably execute
Okay, wait, sorry, I went back too far.
And looking at Zoro's criminal past, it's not hard to see why. These are just some...
Alright, so, murder? That's not that bad. Animal slaughter? He didn't kill no animals. Escaping prison? Nah, that's not too bad. Property destruction? Any criminal? They're not that bad. Animal cruelty? When did that happen? I would say the worst thing here is probably murder. But he never murdered anybody. He's a bounty hunter. You put them down dead or you bring them in dead or alive. He didn't murder nobody. Murder is like, oh, random person. Pow. That's a murder. He didn't murder nobody. These are false allegations. I'm suing for defamation for Zoro for Zoro's behalf.
Some of the crimes he committed: murder, animal slaughter, escaping prison, property destruction, aiding a criminal, animal cruelty, 10 counts of assaulting an officer. The list goes on.
You can't really say that what are they called? Sea Kings? That's animal cruelty. It's a Sea King. And on top of that, he kills them. That's not cruel if they're dead. It's not like they're torturing animals. If you're killing them, it's not torture. What? Doesn't make sense.
But his main crimes were murder. Sometime during his bounty hunter days, Zoro met Mr. Seven from Baroque Works and murdered him in cold blood. So Zoro's already looking at the death penalty, escaping prison. And when we first meet Zoro, we see him escaping Marine captivity. This dude is a murderer and an escape artist, which will earn him a 4-year prison sentence. Property destruction. As cool as this was, I kind of feel bad for the guys on this ship.
Bro,
so Zoro...
they're pirates. How is it proper destruction? They're pirates. I mean, like, he's destroying a pirate ship. That's not crime-worthy. If anything, he's helping out the government from breaking down people's ships.
Zoro deserves jail time for this.
What?
Exactly 5 years. With all the crimes Zoro's committed, he's looking at 57 years in prison, plus the death penalty.
What?
That may sound like a pretty serious sentence, but when you see how much time Nami will get for stealing alone, it'll sound like nothing. You see, since Nami is the definition...
Okay, now for Nami, he definitely is getting a life sentence. She stole way too much stuff.
Of a repeat offender, she would get arrested for 10 years for every instance she stole something. Putting that on top of all of her other crimes, I'm not sure if Nami will ever see the light of day. Theft. Incident number 1. Nami steals navigation books as a kid. The second incident is a little less specific since Nami took over 100 million from unnamed pirates while working with Arlong.
100 million's crazy.
But since we never really got to see any of this, I'll just count it as one. Her next robbery happened in episode 7 when she stole Buggy's Grand Line map. And you can't forget the time she robbed her entire village on her way out. Worst of all, she literally stole part of Big Mom's soul.
She stole Zeus.
This girl is a master thief. And although she's only been caught 5 times, there's still
I have a question. Let's just say, like, you happen to have superpowers. You want to steal somebody's soul. Is that a jailable offense? Because, like, they can't prove you stole somebody's soul. So is it really that bad? I mean, maybe. I don't know.
50-year sentence.
50
and I
years?
haven't even gotten into all of her other crimes. Like the fact that she helped someone who was on death row escape her execution.
That's not that bad.
Or when she watched as her friends declared war on the world government.
That's not that
To
bad.
round this list out, we have another 18 years for the 6 arcs where Nami fought Marines, earning her 3 years in jail for assaulting officers. So Nami got a sentence of 76 years.
That's
but
not that
if
bad.
she wasn't
You
a
can live
thief,
that.
she would only get 26 years. I guess this is a lesson to everyone. Don't get caught while you're stealing stuff. With her
True.
knowledge of navigation and her ability to control weather
I'm
when
gonna
climate
juice.
attack, Nami could be a very powerful asset for the world government. If they get her, they might force her to use her skills for their benefit, potentially turning her into a tool for their naval forces. They could
Should
use
be under
Nami's
Smoker.
abilities to enhance their
Smoker's
fleet's
wing.
capabilities, making their ships nearly unstoppable. Her weather
What?
manipulation could give them the upper hand in naval battles, making it
100%.
easier to control the seas and enforce their rule. On top of all that, Nami could navigate the government ships through dangerous seas, making them an unstoppable fleet. I think it's safe to say that if the world government gets their hands on any Straw Hat, it would be bad news.
All I gotta say is props and shoutouts to this editor. This editor's going crazy. Yo, these are like my type of like high level edits. Like only me, Mr. Beast, and I'm gonna say like Chris next door from AMP can edit like this. Everybody else cannot do that. But like, hey, that's the 4th one to the list. Shout out to you, editor. You're doing a great job.
For the One
No
Piece
cap.
universe. And you wouldn't believe what would happen if Luffy got caught by the world government. I can tell you Nami's
nothing.
sentence is nothing next to his.
Actually-
But before that, I have to
This dude Luffy probably has 16 lifetime sentences. That's like a low ball too.
talk about Nico Robin, the
What?
only Straw Hat who would be facing an immediate execution. After what went down in Eni's lobby, I don't think the government would be willing to take any
They
chances
wouldn't.
with her. But why do they hate her so much?
Ohara.
Well, since she knows how
Duh.
to read the forbidden poneglyphs, she's one of the most dangerous people in the eyes of
Drakes.
the government. But
Why
even
she
though
get
Robin may be
Drakes?
one of the worst criminals in the world of One Piece, she hasn't committed many actual crimes. In fact, for an assassin, Robin's
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
clean. I mean, despite working for Baroque Works for years,
Bro, I
she has
missed that color Robin. Why is she not colored? This sounds crazy. But like, generally speaking, pre-time skip Robin looks so much better than post-time skip. Look at this one right here. Compared to one right here. This one is so much better. I'm sorry.
for an assassin, Robin's
Don't
pretty
get me wrong, like they're both bad. But like this
clean.
one right
I
here,
mean, despite working for Baroque
it's better. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. If you agree with me, also let me know. Let's continue.
Works for years,
Old Robin
she has
on top.
never actually killed anybody.
What
but
the heck
she
is that?
has had a few close calls. Like the time
she
she
broke
blew
Spanda's
up
back?
the ship.
Oh.
Somehow nobody died from this, so the only crime Robin committed here is property destruction, earning her 5 years in prison. Now Robin's biggest crime is breaking out of prison, which you think would warrant a huge
It's not that bad.
sentence. But in Japan, the punishment for this is only 4 years.
What?
So Robin's currently sitting at 9 years on her sentence. And when you add the 6 times Robin fought Marines, we get a total of 27 years in prison for Robin. So Nico Robin, the so-called most dangerous woman in the world, would only get 27 years in prison for her real crimes.
That's not bad.
Even Chopper, the crew's cute and cuddly
wouldn't
doctor,
get
has
any.
a larger sentence than Robin.
What? Chopper did nothing. Chopper is literally innocent.
I mean, this dude is technically a murderer. You see, back before he became the master doctor we know and love, he was a total noob and gave his adoptive dad some poisonous medicine, leading to his eventual death. Even
That's
though
not
Chopper
murder.
didn't mean to do this, the blame would definitely fall on him. But
That wouldn't be murder. If anything, that would be manslaughter, which is a lot less worse than murder because it wasn't intentional.
plus 3 years for aiding a criminal in the form
And
of
why
fraud.
is that called manslaughter? Like it sounds like even worse, big name manslaughter than like accidental killing. Manslaughter is crazy.
Plus another 5 years for when the crew decided to turn the world government's flag into a campfire. And you can't forget when Chopper helped Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji demolish the Frankie family house. Or when he first showed off his Monster Point form and leveled a huge chunk of Eni's lobby. And with Chopper's 5 marine encounters, he'll get another 15 years tacked onto his sentence,
Okay.
leaving him with a total of 31 years in prison along with a 500,000 yen fine.
That's not
so
that
while
bad.
he would be arrested for 31 years.
Because 500,000 yen, that's probably like 5,000 USD. Like it's really not that much. It might be 500 bucks. Dude, the yen like conversion to USD is so bad. Japan's going through it right now because bro, the yen's like bro, Bro, they're in shambles.
In real life, what would happen if he was captured by the One Piece world government? While he may be able to trick the general public with his cute looks, it's not very likely that the government would fall for the act. And when they realize that Chopper isn't just a cute mascot, but actually a brilliant doctor, things would get much darker, as they would likely force Chopper to work for them, stationing him in the Holy Land of Marie Joie as the Celestial Dragon's personal doctor. Since we haven't seen any doctor on Chopper's level, it would make a lot of sense for the world government to reserve the best for themselves. Next up, we have the Iron Chef of the Straw Hats, Vinsmoke Sanji, whose name comes from get out of jail.
He's a peeping Tom. 60 years, calling it.
Free card. Because his father, Judge Vinsmoke, might have the power to intervene and prevent Sanji's sentencing. However, it's unlikely Judge would want to help after their last encounter. But what about Sanji's siblings? They might be more inclined to step in and help their brother, despite their complicated past. However, knowing Sanji, he would never accept help from Vinsmoke, and I think he'd rather just go to prison. On the bright side, his fellow inmates are in for a treat. As the prison chef, Sanji would make sure everyone eats well. His culinary skills would turn even the grimmest prison meals into gourmet dishes, lifting the spirits of those around him. But forget prison meals. Let's count down all of Sanji's actual crimes. Poor cowfish thing. But at least Mumu lived to tell the tale, cause when Baroque Works sent an otter and a vulture to take down Sanji, they weren't as lucky. And he wasn't kicking animals once he made it to Alabasta, absolutely destroying this alligator. Finally, moving on to something that isn't an animal, here we have Sanji destroying the inside of Enel's Arc Maxim. Considering the fact that this thing is made out of solid gold, let's just say that Sanji's lucky that Enel doesn't know about the legal system. Too bad that the Frankie family can't say the same, cause they kinda deserved what Sanji did to their house.
They did.
And you already know Sanji was ready to fight to the death in order to save Robin in Neni's lobby. Obviously, Sanji gets another 5 years for lighting up the government's flag like his cigarettes. But he didn't stop there.
I'm assuming like this could be most like the same stuff because they're
he was at Neni's lobby. I was just thinking we went a little bit too long without Sanji harming animals. But at least he keeps that same energy towards Marines, fighting them in 8 arcs for a total of 24 years added to his sentence. So all in all, Mr. Prince is looking at 52 years in jail. Honestly, if Sanji has to choose between 52 years in prison and getting his butt saved by Judge, this dude might just try to become the personal chef of the world government. Now while Sanji has his cooking skills and Chopper has his medical skills, Brook isn't as lucky. Even if he is the best musician in the world, what is the world government gonna do with a rock star? But there is one significant detail about Brook that can make the world government see him as a threat: his immortality. Thanks to the power of Yomi Yomi no Mi, Brook has come back to life after dying once, making him an immortal pirate. This is something the world government would definitely be wary of. The idea of an immortal being, especially one aligned with the notorious Straw Hat crew, could push the world government to take extreme measures. They might go to great lengths to keep Brook locked away, fearing what his immortality could mean for their control and power. If captured, Brook might find himself in a place where he's kept away from the world, possibly at the bottom of the ocean in a high-security prison. This would be a fate worse than death for Brook, as he could spend an eternity isolated and forgotten, just like before he joined the Straw Hats. On the bright side, Brook doesn't have too many real crimes he has to worry about being caught for. But don't get it twisted, this dude definitely isn't innocent. I mean, he brought an innocent whale to the most dangerous seas, then left it all alone. If animal endangerment wasn't a crime, Brook should still be guilty of hurting animals' feelings. Now, in all seriousness, Brook's biggest crime comes from his grand heist in Whole Cake Island, where he managed to steal a poneglyph rubbing from Big Mom. Considering how much these things are worth,
he was actually the GOAT this arc. If he didn't steal the poneglyphs, they will not find the One Piece or even be close to finding right now. It's because of Brook's efforts that the arc even played off in the first place. Be honest with you. The reason why it went south was because of Sanji. If you disagree with me, you are beyond bias.
It's a no-brainer that Brook would get the maximum punishment of 10 years for this robbery. But at least Brook has been staying on the good side of the law enforcement, since he's only fought Marines in 3 arcs, adding 9 years onto his sentence. Dang, only 20 years? Brook might just be the most innocent Straw Hat. But you can't say the same about Frankie, the cyborg shipwright of the Straw Hats.
Oh, she also forgot the harassment from Brook, asking to see people's panties, what color their panties are. That's gotta be harassment of some sort. Same with Sanji for being a peeping Tom when Nami is bathing. On like 2 occasions as well, which is crazy.
It's pretty easy to say what would happen to Frankie if he was captured by the world government, since we can just look at what happened to his mentor, Tom. Tom was sentenced to death because he built the Oro Jackson, the ship of the Pirate King. Similarly, Frankie would likely face the same harsh punishment for creating the
cut this real quick. I'll be right back.
Especially given it. Tom managed to circumvent his punishment by building the Sea Train, a project that greatly benefited Water 7. Unfortunately for Frankie, he doesn't share the same aspirations. His only dream is to build the perfect ship that sails to the ends of the world, which means he wouldn't be interested in constructing something for the world government.
That's
what if the world
but
government decided to turn Frankie into a full cyborg, like what they did with Bartholomew Kuma? With Frankie already being part cyborg and his unparalleled skill in construction, he could become an incredibly dangerous asset for the world government, even stripped of his humanity. Imagine the world government having access to thousands of warships more dangerous than the Thousand Sunny, all built by a cyborg.
I'm gonna edit this part out. 1 sec.
Cyborg Frankie. This scenario would be terrifying. With Frankie's expertise, the world government could bolster their fleet and make their control nearly unshakable.
No, their stuff would be much more powerful.
Honestly, I feel bad for Frankie for even imagining this scenario. So let's take it back and see all the crimes we've seen Frankie do. Dang, Frankie's been against the world government since day one.
Yeah.
Now, I can get behind
they
getting
dropped off
spammed in the face, but I'm not too sure about traumatizing a bunch of kids.
I forgot about that, dude.
Honestly, Frankie doesn't get enough credit for helping Robin before he even joined the crew. But when you remember when he beat the crap out of Usopp and robbed him of 200 million, maybe it's better that people don't talk about the things Frankie did in this arc. When you see a guy that's basically made of weapons like Frankie, it's only fair to expect some property damage. At least this dude turned things down.
I guess say this once again. Is that Senor Pink? Frankie pre-time skip was so much better than time skip Frankie. Time skip Frankie, if he looked better and cooler, I would like him more. However, he doesn't. And his best fight was against Senor Pink. It's Senor Pink. He sucks. He literally. I'm gonna get back into this.
Little in Dressrosa only just.
But actually, no. I'm gonna say it. I'll say this once again for you guys that have never heard me say this. Without Frankie, actually no. All Frankie had to do was make their ship, and then just take the same crew that they currently had, without Frankie, and it would have been perfectly fine. Frankie, after he made the Sunny, he was not needed. And some people say ask cope and denial and like stuff like that, but it's true. You literally don't need Frankie.
Toy Factory and not the entire thing. And with only 4 arcs where Frankie fought Marines, we'll add another 12 years to his sentence for a total of 43 years and 6 months. While that may be a lot of time, it's a cakewalk compared to becoming a cyborg killing machine for the government. Now, we just have 2 more Straw Hats before we get to
skipping Usopp,
with a prison sentence that puts the other members to shame. But before we talk about the first Straw Hat, let's talk about the newest Straw Hat, Jinbei. And this dude has a long history with the world government. During his time with the Sun Pirates, Jinbei was constantly fighting against the government.
That is true.
To get captured,
but it doesn't count though.
Definitely wouldn't forget that. Because of how cruel we've seen the world government can be towards their enemies,
Dirty
it's not
fishman.
crazy to say they would turn Jinbei into a slave. They would turn him into the second Kuma, implanting him with cyber...
Yo. Wait, I never seen this before. Yo, Emoto, why are you dropping spoilers? Bro. So this is how he got turned to a pacifista, huh? They put suction cups on his nipples, in his obliques, in his brain. Alright.
And forcing him to serve the Celestial Dragons. Jinbei would serve as a message towards the enemies of the world government and would be a sign at how grim a world run by the world government can be. But let's move on from that and into all of Jinbei's crimes. Starting with his time on the Sun Pirates. During these ages, Jinbei was brutal and used to destroy Marines. We saw him fight Marines as a Sun Pirate on 3 different occasions, as well as fighting Marines during Impel Down, Marineford, and Egghead, meaning Jinbei starting off with a sentence of 18 years. And speaking of Impel Down, Jinbei obviously needs some years added to his sentence for his little jailbreak, which involved Jinbei destroying a couple warships. And I think this dude just might love destroying, since this dude destroyed
he's like a brute
warship
strength, so
when
it
he
makes
introduced
sense.
himself into the battlefield in Wano. Total, 32 years. Next up is the master manipulator himself, God Usopp, who would obviously try to talk his way out of getting captured. But
God,
when that doesn't
Usopp,
work,
huh?
the government would soon realize his incredible talent for inventing and his sharpshooting skills. His ingenuity in creating powerful weapons and gadgets could make him very
wonder if
useful to
Usopp
them.
disappointed or
However,
not.
Usopp would probably
Bro
try to
sucks.
trick the government, giving them faulty equipment. Unfortunately, if he gets caught, it'll be the end of Usopp's tale. But let's go back to the start of Usopp's tale to see every crime this dude has ever committed. Like the time this dude kidnapped Kaya. Even though he was trying to save her
bro,
from her
come
bloodthirsty
on.
butler,
That's
it was
not
still a
kidnapping.
straight up kidnapping. Then we have Usopp, Soge King, helping out Robin while escaping.
So Gay King? That is not his name. It's Soj King. It's not So Gay King. Yes, King.
From Impel
Sorry.
Down. And given the fact that
Instinct.
Soge King
I
was
see
the
Thomas.
one
Can I
to
go to
actually
the
shoot down the
gym
world
after this?
government flag, it's only right that he gets 10 years added to his sentence.
It's a little
But
late in
after
the day,
Soge
but
King left,
hey.
Usopp decided to go crazy, blowing up the Flying Fish Raiders base with the Thousand Sunnies cannon.
Dang.
And adding 21 years to his sentence for the 7 arcs where he fought Marines, Usopp has a whopping 44 years on his prison sentence. Not too bad for a
It's
god.
not too
Now for what you've all been waiting for. we
no,
have the
Luffy
captain of
has
the
a
crew,
long sentence
Straw
for
Hat
sure.
Luffy. Obviously, since this guy's been here since the beginning, his list of crimes is crazy long.
Crazy
and it goes all
long.
the way back to when he was a kid stealing meals with Sabo and Ace. Since Luffy isn't a repeat
As a
offender
child,
like Nami,
already a
he would just
thug.
be hit with a fine for his thievery. But when
Alright.
it comes to breaking people out of prison, Luffy is the definition of a repeat offender, earning 3 years for his first stint with Zoro. Can someone tell Luffy that just because he has monkey in his name doesn't mean he can just wreck all these poor animals?
I think it
But
does.
It's not just animals that have to watch out for Luffy, it's buildings too. Just look at what happened to Baratier. I guess Mumu has that incident to thank for his unfortunate meeting with Luffy and Sanji. But again, when Luffy's around, it's the buildings you gotta worry about. I mean, this dude destroyed Arlong Park with a kick.
He did.
Well, unless you're a giant whale like Laboon, or a giant snake like Nola. Back to the buildings. Luffy
What?
and the crew really did a number on the Frankie fam's house. And after this, Luffy made his way to Eni's lobby to help Robin escape her execution, making this the second time Luffy helped someone escape imprisonment. Which involved Luffy ordering his best friend to declare war on the world government,
Right.
and he didn't stop there. Because right after this, he introduced his Gear 3 technique, wrecking Eni's lobby in the process. But Eni was really just the beginning of Luffy's beef with the world government, and
Right.
it picked back up in Sabaody when Luffy hit the Celestial Dragon so hard the anime turned into a manga. As cool as that was, it's
No,
hard to
that's
remember
so
it without
long.
thinking of the heartbreak
That's so
of
much
the Straw
time.
Hats being separated. But during this time, Luffy proved he
Sabaody
doesn't
is such a
need to
great
be a
arc,
bad
dude.
boy, since he broke in and out of the world's most secure prison, freeing tons of inmates in the process. After fighting a war, you would think Luffy would want to break from the crime, but not this dude.
Monkey
Immediately after
criminal.
recovering from his injuries, he infiltrated Marineford just to give his crewmates a message. But then we have the time skip where Luffy had plenty of time to beat up animals without the audience seeing.
That's not animal
right.
cruelty.
He almost got away with animal cruelty until he decided to destroy this poor Kraken in Fishman Island. And being
Oh,
the
yeah,
founding
sympathy for
member,
that
it only
dirty-
makes
dirty
sense that Luffy
squid.
fought the most Marines, fighting them in 12 arcs, adding on 36 years to his sentence. That gives Luffy, the most wholesome main character in anime, a sentence of 83
No.
years.
He definitely has much longer than 83 years. Let's be realistic. Bro, what?
I guess this guy isn't all smiles and giggles, huh? That
He
sentence
has
is
a life
nothing compared
sentence.
to what the world government would do to this dude. With his unique devil fruit powers and his connection to Joy Boy, Luffy poses a big threat to the world government's plan. If they were to capture him, there are 2 possible scenarios that could unfold, and both
They're
of
all
them
thinking of-
are bad. The first possibility is that the world government would keep Luffy imprisoned in the harshest and most secure conditions imaginable. They would do everything in their power to prevent his devil fruit from falling into the wrong hands.
Right.
Luffy's confinement would be in a top secret facility, heavily guarded and isolated from the outside world. The world government would spare no expense in ensuring that the bearer of such a powerful devil fruit remains under their control. However, there's another
How do you keep a character that's like really powerful, like Crazy Hockey, under control? How do you do that? I don't get it.
more ominous possibility. The world government, knowing the significance
Like, how would you
of
keep
Luffy's
Shanks
devil fruit
locked
and
up?
its ties to Joy Boy, may resort to extreme measure. They could attempt to manipulate the spawn location of devil fruits just like Blackbeard and secure the Nika fruit by eliminating Luffy.
Yeah.
But the world government may hesitate to take such a drastic step. They've experienced firsthand the consequences of meddling with the Nika fruit, and they wouldn't want to risk losing it again. Their fear of the unknown could prevent them from taking that final step.
Fair enough.
There's one straw hat missing from this list.
Alright.
Or
And that was if Straw Hats were changed. Wait. If Straw Hats were charged for their crimes. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I thought it was kind of interesting. Seeing Frankie also made me pass out because I got boring from seeing Frankie on the screen. A lot of things like repeat offensively, like more specific, but hey man, not everybody's like that. Because if I was that person, I would have went to death and the video would have been like 2 hours long. With that being said, I'll catch you guys next time, alright? Have a great night. Catch you guys next time. I think I just said that. See ya. Hey.